Grow up in your Christian faith,
Amen.
and the word favor always makes you jump. How many?
Amen.
Wait at me. Wait at me. How many know the meaning of favor? Favor. Favor means you are
Grace.
special. You are favorite. How many
Yes.
want to be favorite of God?
Amen.
Those who didn't put your hands up, you don't want to be favorite of God? This word favor always makes me leap in my heart. And you know when it's quite funny. All of us have talked about the name of God every day of our lives. Do you realize? Because every time your employer says, "Did you do this?" Noah, 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 no, no, Noah means Noah, right? You say Noah all the time, and Noah means rest, rest. Noah, means rest. And what really I want to say today is every one of us today need the favor of God to carry on with our lives. We all want to be favorites of something. Favorite of our employer, favorite of our pastor, favorite of our friend, favorite of our friends, favorite in the country, favorite in anything. Correct? Christian? We always want to be favorite. And we are the favorites.
Amen.
We are favored by God. But today I want to give you the secret of why Noah found favor with the Lord. My journey started 1 year ago, and I'm going to weave in my experience in Israel because that really is not the key to my message. The key of my message is much bigger than that. I believe that by the end of this year, last November, which is in 2018 November, I started my journey of consecration before the Lord. Now, I went to full-time ministry in ICA at the age of 28 when I first got married. Um, it wasn't a very, after many years coming out from the marriage, I divorced 3.5 years ago. After 20 years, and afterwards I'll tell you why 20. It's actually the number of redemption. And ever since I was married, I didn't feel that was really the will of God. But because of a lot of being in the ministry, sometimes you will have a lot of people around you, and I'm in the youth ministry, so it's very easy to be tempted. So that's why I quickly got married for the sake of not being under temptation. So, my life has been, after so many years in my life, I realized that there are a lot of significant milestones that God has called me. And I realized that just like Noah, there is the favor of God in my life. I'm born in 1968, as you can see.
Oh,
I'm 51 this year.
hello.
And
Grabe.
I've never looked
Oh my
like
God.
never looked like my age. And God has really told
Hello.
me that as you keep looking at Jesus, your life will always never be the same again. You will never go back, and you will never, when you look at Jesus, you look more like Jesus. So all of you want that, right? So later I'm gonna be praying for you. So look out for that. But again, going back to Noah found favor with God. So in that process, when after 20 years of getting married, it's time to, God led me to actually, with a lot of turmoil and a lot of situations, I divorced in 2016. That was 3.5 years ago. And I kept wondering why 20 years I've been married and then I get divorced. And a lot of people have encouraged me to get attached again. But I just didn't feel that was my agenda. I felt that God has called me to a time of consecration. Now, just so you know, back in my years when I was 9 up to I was 12, 14, 19, 21, 27, the milestones of my life, God has called me to be a Nazarite, set apart for Him. And I understand that being set apart because God has formed me in my mother's womb, what fearfully and wonderfully made. I had a very, very rough life. Those who have followed me in my youth ministry, they know the reason why I was in youth ministry is because I have had a very, very, very turmoil childhood. Um, I was born in 1968, February, and my dad passed away in October. And since then, my life has never been the same because from a very rich person, we became very poor. And we became very poor and also very tormented because I was the child who brought distress to my family. So you can imagine my life is never the same again. But what what the devil meant for evil, the Bible says in John 10:10 that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The more you see the devil's reaction towards you, I live today. I was once young, but now I'm old. I'm older, not old. I can live to testify that God has a call for each and every one of us. And more sure when you go through life's deepest pit and darkest hour. I went through turmoil when I was a kid because every blame was on me. I was the ugliest person in my whole family. But you can see how the testimony of God has changed that destiny. Amen. When the devil comes and give you a curse and destin you and prophesy over your life to say you are cursed, you are good for nothing, you are worth nothing. When I turned 17, 18, when I was following Jesus, I knew Jesus when I was 9. I gave my life to the Lord when I was 12, and by 14, I was changing the world. I was praying for my whole school, for all to be saved by the age of 14 to the time I graduated from my secondary school. I spent every morning 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. praying for my school. I don't know how many people were saved. It didn't really bother me who will be saved and who will not be saved because I don't understand anything except following the Lord. It was turbulent. It has never stopped being turbulent. Up till the time I was 27, I was always thrown out of every house that I stayed with because for some reason they reject me for a lot of reasons. Like people don't really want to have an outsider to live with them. I left my family when I was 16, and thank God that I didn't get myself to drugs. I didn't mess myself up. Because for some reason, God's hand was upon my life. And by the time I turned 18, I was baptized in water. And by the time I was 19, I was baptized in the Holy Spirit by fire. And my life's never been the same. So I can tell you that even walking into marriage, it was like a time of loneliness because it was 20 years of. So I served the youth ministry until 2001 and felt that I need to spend time with my family. I walked out of ministry, and felt the call to the marketplace. So I have been in the marketplace for 20 over years, just serving marketplace. It was a very rough ride. But God's courage and God's faith, God's destiny is in my life. And after walking out from marriage, I asked the Lord, what's next? And that's the time the Lord says, come into the time of consecration. So in 2018, November, my life took on a very different dimension. It's like when you are walking in the valley and then you are, I forgot to tell you that actually I always felt like I was born like an eagle. So when I was young, I asked the Lord, you have talked about so many animals in the Bible. Which one am I? So there are 4 faces in Jesus, right? If you read the Revelations, I will tell you in detail here. But one of it is an eagle. And I've always looked at the eagle in the sky and saying, I'm an eagle. How many of you have felt that? Yeah. Wave at me. How many of you? I'm an eagle. I'm an eagle.
Amen.
They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. The Bible tells us that we are eagles. And I said, I'm an eagle. And from a very, very young age, I felt like it. And by the time I reached 2018 November, I said to the Lord, come on, let's get back to where we used to be, even better, because the closeness of God is real to me. I have angels surround me when I do warfare, when I talk, when I witness, when I do ministry, or even when I don't do ministry. My house is totally dedicated to God, a house of prayer. And at the time I said, Lord, I want to see your face. I want to find favor with you. And then right after 2 weeks into this journey, I got struck by this tumor. 2 weeks into this journey, I felt a lump, and then I went for body check. It was a little bit confusing and everything. There was nothing in that thing. It was 2.4 when we checked it. 2.4 cm when we checked it. And no operation was needed whatsoever. And up into this year, since July, there was a lot of turmoil happening in the whole city. But even before the turmoil started, the Lord said to me in June that to consecrate myself and to get ready. I didn't know what to get ready for because I was always, talking to the Lord, and I was always spending time. All my time, apart from sleeping, eating, and working, I only read the Bible, sing, and pray. I do nothing else. I don't go for TV. I don't watch the news. I don't plug into anything except God. So God can tell me everything, So at the time He just told me, set yourself apart. I said, okay. So I don't know what's the agenda. And when the time when they started to have the 200,000 on the streets, remember the day of that was the day of Pentecost, just so you know. Does anyone know? That was the day of Pentecost. And in my spirit, God said to me, I felt, why is the devil glorifying himself in the day of Pentecost? God should be glorifying himself in the day of Pentecost, but the devil has robbed this glory. And I felt very indignant about it. I was angry and I started to pray. And the Lord said to me, set yourself apart in prayer and fasting. There's a time when I went to Singapore. I felt I need to go back to Singapore, where my home church is, New Creation Church. Some of you might have known of Pastor Joseph Prince. I'm from that church. And so I went back there just to listen 2 consecutive Sundays on some, I don't have any agenda, but I just felt like I need to go there. And the Lord said, pray. I said, what? I'm going home. Why am I fasting and praying? Like I'm supposed to go for some home food, Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so I did that. And then there I start to see a lot of things, which I'm not going to give you a detail because, I only have like 1 hour here, 40 minutes, right? Then I'm going to pray for you. If I tell you every single detail, we'll spend 40 hours here, okay? So cut that short, right? Just try to flow with me so that you understand what I'm saying, even without me saying, okay? You guys are instinctive, right? All women are instinctive. They have this gift of knowing a lot of things, even without people saying it. Yeah. Just looking at me, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yes. Tell me yes. Yes. Okay. Good. All right. So what happened is I just felt like God brought me into it. Then I came out, and the Lord said, I want you to go into prayer and fasting 43 days. Why 43? Why not 40? Because 43 is the number to commemorate out of Egypt. Egypt, when Israelites were enslaved, they were enslaved 430 years in Egypt.
Yes.
And when they came out, it was just 430 years after.
Yes.
So 43 days is to commemorate out of Egypt. And I felt God gave me a message of out of Egypt. What is that, God? And God said, I want you to carry the message to bring my people. Let my people go. And so this 43 days depicts my journey on prayer and fasting, I only depended on water and soup, and that's all for 43 days. I've never done it in my life. I've done many fastings, but this was one fasting that was very difficult because I was working and then I had to fast. But I can tell you it was dynamic. The whole journey, God revealed so many things. In fact, this journey was difficult until the Lord said to me, I said to God, I have been eating for so many years. It's so hard not to eat. I love food and I depend on it. And the Lord said to me, my food is to do the will of the Father. And the Lord said to me, eat my food. And I realized, I remember many years ago when I was a teenager, when I didn't have food to eat, the Lord gave me this verse and it was very meaningful to me. And I said, I will do the will of the Father. What's the will of the Father? I'll do it and I'll feel filled. And I go and I preach the gospel and I pray for people and I felt filled after I prayed for them. And then I said, God, still it's too hard, And the Lord said, draw out a picture every day to commemorate my faithfulness and my goodness. And that's how I pictured this 43-day journey. Every day there was a message from God, what exactly this is all about. And every day I spent meditating on that one picture that God gives to me. And that was the journey. So when I came out the journey and into this year, and even that was in July 10 to August 22, once I came out from the journey, then things start to happen, because after that I was supposed to go to Israel. So I went to Israel and came out of Israel and walked right into my operation. Right? And I can tell you that walking into operation is like, I didn't feel a thing. Because before I went into operation, the Lord says to me, don't worry, Christina. You walk this journey. I prepared you all the way. I have been with you. The thing about walking into darkness, valley, do you remember where that scripture was? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the
Psalms
shadow of
23:1.
death, I will fear no evil,
Yes,
for
for
thou
thou
art
hast
with
with
me,
me,
thy rod
and thy staff they comfort me.
It starts
Yes.
with, the Lord is my
Hallelujah.
shepherd, I shall not
One.
want. He leads
Psalms
me
20.
beside
Still
still
water.
waters.
Let me
He guides me in the path
to
of righteousness for
righteousness.
his name's sake.
Yes.
Amen?
Amen.
And it's not because you have sinned that you are going through the valley, my friends. It's not because we have done badly that we're in turmoil in Hong Kong right now. It's all because we've done so well, we've been so good, we've been so faithful, that as we walk the path of righteousness, guess what? The next thing you find out is you're walking through the valley. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the
Righteous.
shadow of
Death.
death.
Yes.
What is so funny about this scripture is, try to enjoy this scripture with me, like take and eat it, okay? Is a shadow. Hello? It's not real. You don't feel it. I went into operation, I feel nothing. And I walked out of it. I had the operation 44 minutes. And then I walked out of it. I went in on 15 October, I left. I checked out 16 October. I came out of it. They asked me, is it painful? And all that. I said, I felt like I just walked into a dream. I walked out the dream. Valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me.
Yes.
Thy rod and thy
Thy
staff,
staff, they
meaning
come.
that through it, God's rod is a discipline. His staff is something that He brings you back on track. I realized that as I went to Israel, before I went into this operation, which I will show you in the next slide. Here's what happens when I went to Israel. This is the Sea of Galilee. I've gone to Israel. This is the second time I went. What time? How much time do I have left? What time am I supposed to end? 11:30. 11:30. Oh, okay. So this is Sea of Galilee. This is the second time I went through, but we lived next to the Sea of Galilee, and there, Peter walked on water, and when Peter found the 153 fish, the same miracle that he experienced and the same calling from Jesus. This is how I walked the scripture. I can't tell you everything. It's so I tell